Fox News alert. Newly released transcripts now reveal former FBI lawyer Lisa Page told Congress that fired FBI agent Peter Strzok went into the special counsel's investigation thinking it could end with President Trump's impeachment, while potentially boosting his own career. Page also said the Department of Justice under President Obama pushed back against possible charges of gross negligence against Hillary Clinton in 2016, calling them constitutionally vague. President Trump is following all of this. He tweeted this morning, "The just revealed FBI agent Lisa Page transcripts make the Obama Justice Department look exactly like what it was, a broken and corrupt machine. Hopefully justice will finally be served. Much more to come." Joining me now, Republican Congressman Doug Collins of Georgia, ranking member on the House Judiciary Committee. Great to see you again today. I ran into you in the hallway at the Capitol yesterday.
It's amazing where you run into you. It's good to see you.
Does this mean, in some ways, is it possible that the president has been treated differently? What does this tell us?
I think he has been treated differently. This is not an up for debate argument. This is what we've been saying for over 2 years while we had Democrats making fun of us, Democrats thinking there was nothing going on. The transcript releases show an inherent two-tier system, one in which Hillary Clinton gets the treatment that she got, where there was actually at first concern that they were going to charge her, and then with Loretta Lynch in charge, before she recused herself, made it very clear that that was not going to happen. And then we see it transitioning right into with the same corrupt triumvirate of Page and McCabe and Strzok and others, who then go into the discussion on President Trump through the Russia investigation. That's what we see right now.
Not to make this salacious, just to spit the facts and not to lose sight of the fact of why we would believe something that Page would say about Strzok. They were lovers. They were close, and they were communicating on work devices. That's how we got to see their text messages. Why is it that we're now just seeing these transcripts? What's going on with the DOJ in terms of not releasing these things more contemporaneously?
Well, this is not up to the DOJ to release these. This is up to the folks in Congress. This is an investigation, if you remember, Harris, that was going on in the previous Congress with both the Judiciary Committee and the Oversight Committee as well. At the end of the Congress, it ran out, and with the Democrats taking over in the House, they've chose to let this lie. I've not chose to let it lie. I believe that the accountability is needed here. I believe that what was happening was a result of an intentional effort by the DOJ to involve itself in a political process and not be the blind eye of justice that we see. That's why I'm releasing these. That's why I'll continue to release these. I would encourage people to follow us on Twitter or however, and get ready, because more are coming.
And what is it that you hope to show in terms of where the conversation is now about that two-tier system that you're talking about, which really is political, and people would normally think that the FBI, the DOJ, there are no politics there?
Well, there shouldn't be politics there. No Democrat, Republican, or Independent should disagree with me on this point. DOJ and the FBI should be the blind eyes of justice, making sure that the laws are followed and the rule of law upheld. What I'm wanting to show here is what we have been saying for a long time that people wanted to ignore and people dismiss. That right now, frankly, Loretta Lynch has a lot of explaining to do. Why is she taking the law in itself and changing the standard to say, well, it really wasn't gross, maybe it was because of her relationship with Miss Clinton. Maybe it was later on when she actually got caught with a former president on the plane and then she had to recuse herself. It had started way before then, so we don't need to give her a pass because of that. This is why we're just trying to say that the same group, not the entire FBI, not the entire DOJ, but the same group you will find starting in 2016 going through the appointment of the Mueller investigation. It was the same corrupt bunch going to the same thing, and you have Mr. Strzok, who was thinking this was his ticket to maybe FBI director. I don't know what, but we see this as a problem.
So what does justice look like in all of this is my first question, and the second part of that would be, have most or all of the people that you know were involved in all of this potentially gone now, or does some of this still exist, do you think, at the FBI?
Most of these folks are gone. As we see in the three that I just mentioned, 2 were fired for cause and 1 left after being demoted. Bruce Orr is still employed by the department. What I've seen here, though, and I go back to Attorney General Bill Barr, who I have a lot of respect for, and who said in his hearings that he was willing to look into this when Senator Graham asked him, are you willing to look into this? Because what we find later on in July of 2016 that year was the opening of a FISA warrant on Carter Page. This is an interesting development because it was the same folks using dossier materials and others. justice. We have to assure that our investigative groups and our security and our intelligence communities are not being used in political partisan ways. This is why we got the FISA courts from the 70s and why they should be here today. This is an open and transparent process to say, Mr. Attorney General, we're giving you this information. Let's make sure this never happens again, and those that did should be held accountable.
All right. Representative Collins from the great state of Georgia, thank you very much.
Another extraordinary piece of email that came out, or another extraordinary email that came out, was an email from Lisa Page that confirmed previous reporting and disclosures, thanks again to Judicial Watch, because we've sued also for the FBI investigative file on the Clinton email issue, that there was a quid pro quo between the State Department and the FBI, or an attempted bribery effort by the State Department. And essentially what was going on is that the State Department was concerned, wanted the FBI to underclassify a Clinton email in particular, and still keep it withheld, but only for non-classified reasons. So the State Department, according to Lisa Page, said, and this is the document, Jason Herring will be providing you with 3 302s of current and former FBI employees who were interviewed during the course of the Clinton investigation. These 302s are scheduled to be released to Congress in an unredacted form at the end of the week and produced with redactions, pursuant to FOIA at the beginning of the week. And FOIA, obviously, that's Judicial Watch. As you will see, they describe a discussion about potential quid pro quo. So this is not my language, this is Lisa Page's language. A potential quid pro quo arrangement between then DAD and IOD, which is Deputy Assistant Director for International Operations Division, and an Undersecretary at the State Department, whereby IOD would get more legat positions, LEGAT, which is an acronym for legal attaché positions, if the FBI could change the basis of the FOIA withholding, ray a Clinton email from classified to something else. Boy, think about that. The State Department was offering bureaucratic favors to the FBI in exchange for the FBI downgrading the national security classification of a Clinton email. That obviously helps the Clinton State Department, or the Kerry State Department at the time, and Hillary Clinton. And this email doesn't say that was not true. It's a heads up email. They knew it happened, and yet the FBI did nothing about it. Frankly, this should be criminally investigated, what went on here. And of course, they're messing with our FOIA cases there. And I tell you, the one thing that's always struck me, and it's kind of unusual for me to complain about this, because as a transparency group, we try to get more information out of the government. And we think the overclassification of material is a big problem in the release of government documents. We're always fighting about classification. There's not much we can do when the government classifies documents, but they tend to overclassify material. But one thing I did notice in the Clinton emails is there were obviously classified documents, including highly sensitive classified documents of the top security nature. I'm convinced, looking at some of these documents, that they were underclassified. I've looked at virtually every Clinton email there is, and you can't put your finger on it, but based on my experience of 2 decades working at Judicial Watch and reviewing documents that the government releases, that the State Department purposely underclassified or did not classify Clinton emails, and as this email suggests, to protect Hillary Clinton and itself. Because if there was a whole raft of classified materials, it would have really made it difficult for the FBI to come to its sham conclusion with the approval of the corrupted Justice Department that Hillary Clinton shouldn't face any legal consequences for her mishandling classified information. So by lessening the number of classified materials, the State Department was helping Hillary Clinton. Now, did this quid pro quo actually happen? By all accounts, no. But we don't know for sure. And that's the problem. No one's doing the investigation. And this is crazy that it's years later, we've got this evidence, as I said in the release, that the Clinton investigation was rigged. These unusual phone calls between the top lawyer for Hillary Clinton and the top lawyer for the FBI. You think Powell Manafort's lawyer could talk to the top lawyer for the FBI and complain? Do you think they would care what he said? Do you think even President Trump's lawyer could call the top lawyer for the FBI and complain about what's going on? Oh, it would be a scandal, I'm sure. But Hillary Clinton's lawyer was able to do it just days before the election campaign. Incredible. And this Justice Department and this FBI have done nothing to investigate that corrupted investigation, has done nothing, as best we can tell, to honestly, finally investigate the Clinton email scandal. And there's another email that's of interest, and it's not of interest because it shows a scandal, but it just kind of shows you an attitude. I mean, James Comey sends along a press release, or receives it, and there's email traffic about a press release Charles Grassley had criticizing the FBI's selective release of Clinton investigative documents. And what does Comey say? Because this is just rich. I want to get the quote right, so forgive me. Comey tells his aides, to be great is to be misunderstood. I mean, the arrogance of this guy, unbelievable. So that's kind of a fun email. But there are other emails, and I encourage you, go ahead and go to our website at judicialwatch.org. You can look at the press release. The title, you'll find the press release about the Clinton emails. FBI General Counsel talked to Hillary Clinton's lawyer about Comey's letter on Wiener laptop Clinton emails. And go to the website, click on the press release. Click on the press release, you'll see a link to the 216 pages of documents, and you can download these emails and look at them yourselves. Now, we look at them and we try to figure out what's up and what's down, but there are a lot of emails, so maybe you'll find something we didn't. So I encourage you to not only do this with this batch of documents, but every batch of documents that Judicial Watch releases. So while I'm on here reporting about a group of documents, you should know that I'm probably only reporting on a portion of the documents of a greater group of documents that we've been able to review. And there may be other interesting things in there and takes that you may have when looking even at the documents we're reporting. And this is what I love about Judicial Watch. You don't have to believe me. You can believe your lying eyes and look at the documents yourself. So I encourage you to do that.